You see, words are not small. Words are not powerless. Words are seeds. And when you speak with faith, you are planting seeds that open doors to miracles. When you say, God makes the impossible possible, you are not just talking. You are aligning your spirit with the eternal truth of God's power. You are refusing to accept defeat. You are declaring that no matter what the world says, no matter what the doctor says, no matter what your bank account says, there is a higher authority who has the final say, and his name is God. There are people listening right now who have been crushed by the weight of impossibility. You prayed once and nothing changed. You prayed twice and the situation grew worse. And now you are standing at the edge of despair, wondering if God has forgotten you. Let me assure you, God has not forgotten you. God is never late, and God never abandons his children. But there are moments in life when God allows impossibility to surround you so that you can witness his power in ways you never imagined. If you never faced a Red Sea, you would never see it part. If you never walked through fire, you would never know he can carry you through flames without a single burn. If you never felt powerless, you would never experience the greatness of his strength. The human mind says, this cannot be done. God says, it is already finished. People say, you will never recover. God says, you are already restored. The world says, there is no way. God says, I am the way. And this is why declaring God makes the impossible possible is not just a phrase. It is warfare. It is a weapon against despair. It is a sword against fear. It is a shield against doubt. Each time you speak it, you are shaking the foundations of the enemy's lies. Each time you declare it, you are building an unshakable fortress of faith within your soul. I know there are some who say, but I've been waiting for so long. My prayers are unanswered. My strength is gone. And to you I say, lift your head and speak it again. Do not let your delay trick you into thinking that God has denied you. Do not let silence make you think he has abandoned you. God's timing is perfect. God's ways are higher. God's wisdom is beyond comprehension. While you are waiting, he is working. While you are praying, he is preparing. While you are declaring, he is aligning circumstances you cannot see. That is why you must never stop declaring the truth. God makes the impossible possible. When you feel weak, say it. When you feel afraid, say it. When you feel hopeless, say it. Say it until your doubt runs out of breath. Say it until your fear has no place to hide. Say it until the only voice left in your heart is the voice of faith, declaring that nothing is beyond the reach of God. Think of Abraham, who looked at his old age and the barrenness of his wife and saw impossibility. Yet he believed in the promise of God. And what was impossible in human terms became possible by divine power. Think of Moses, who stood before the sea with no boat, no bridge, no human strategy. And yet God made a path where none existed. Think of the prophets. Think of those who faced armies, lions and flames. To man, it was impossible. To God, it was nothing. He has not changed. His power is the same yesterday, today, and forever. Do you understand the significance of saying it 5 times? 5 represents completeness, strength, and confirmation. When you declare, God makes the impossible possible 5 times, you are driving that truth deeper into your spirit until it becomes unshakable. You are not just speaking with your lips. You are reprogramming your mind. You are training your heart to trust in God's reality more than your own reasoning. And when your mind and spirit align with faith, miracles are no longer occasional. They become the atmosphere you live in. But let me tell you this, you cannot just speak it casually. You cannot whisper with doubt and expect mountains to move. You must speak it with fire, with authority, with the conviction of one who knows they are backed by the God who holds the universe in his hand. Speak it like you mean it. Speak it like your life depends on it. Speak it until the ground beneath your feet feels different, until the air around you is charged with faith, until your very soul is set on fire with the certainty that God makes the impossible possible. And as you speak it, watch how your perspective shifts. Suddenly, the sickness is no longer a death sentence. It is an opportunity for healing. The debt is no longer a trap. It is a chance for provision. The betrayal is no longer an ending. It is the doorway to something greater. Because when God enters the equation, everything changes. Impossibility does not intimidate him. Impossibility is his specialty. So, my friend, do not look at your mountain with fear. Look at your mountain and say, God makes the impossible possible. Do not look at your closed doors with despair. Look at those doors and declare, God makes the impossible possible. Do not stare at your broken heart with hopelessness. Hold your heart in your hands and say, God makes the impossible possible. For there is nothing too hard for him, nothing too far for him, nothing too broken for him, nothing too late for him. Every time you declare these words, you are writing a new story over your life. You are declaring that despair will not win. You are declaring that fear has no dominion. You are declaring that impossibility is only temporary. You are declaring that the God who made the heavens and the earth is still in control, still moving, still working, still making a way where there is no way. Now I ask you, are you ready to live like you believe it? Are you ready to rise every morning with the declaration on your lips, makes the impossible possible? Are you ready to walk into every challenge, every trial, every storm, not with trembling knees, but with unshakable faith that nothing can stand against the power of God? If you are, then begin right now. Say it. Say it again. Say it until the very core of your being is alive with the reality of God's power. Say it until the impossible in your life bows down and makes way for the miraculous hand of God to move. When you look at the course of your life, you must understand something vital. Every season of impossibility is a divine classroom. God is not punishing you with it. He is shaping you through it. He allows impossibility to surround you so that you will stop relying on your limited strength and lean fully into His limitless power. If everything were easy, you would never learn trust. If everything were within your reach, you would never stretch your faith. It is when the door is locked, when the path is blocked, when the mountain towers over you, that you discover who God really is. It is in those moments that the words, God makes the impossible possible, take root, not as a cliche, but as the undeniable reality of your life. So many people spend their lives consumed by what they cannot control. They argue with people, they worry about the future, they replay the past, and all of it robs them of energy and faith. But what if, instead of wasting strength on fear, you poured that energy into declaring the truth of God's power? What if every time anxiety whispered, you shouted back, God makes the impossible possible? What if every time discouragement tried to break you, you lifted your voice with unshakable conviction? I promise you, your life would not stay the same, because the atmosphere around you responds to faith. Darkness cannot remain where the light of faith shines. Doubt cannot stand where conviction takes root. Understand this. Impossibility is not your enemy. It is your opportunity. It is the stage where God chooses to reveal Himself. Think of it like this. When a seed is planted, it is buried in the dark soil, hidden from sight. To the natural eye, it looks dead. But in that darkness, something powerful is happening. The seed is breaking open. Life is forming. Growth is pushing upward. And soon, what looked impossible, life springing from death, becomes visible. Your life is no different. When you are buried in situations that seem impossible, trust that God is working in the unseen. He is breaking something open inside you. He is preparing life to burst forth in a way you never imagined. But here is the key. You cannot let impossibility intimidate you. Too many people bow before their problems. They treat their challenges as gods, forgetting that God alone is God. You must rise and speak with authority. You must look at the very thing that threatens you and declare with fire in your spirit, God makes the impossible possible. Do not whisper it timidly. Do not mumble it like you are unsure. Speak it as if heaven itself is listening, because heaven is listening. Speak it as if every force of doubt and fear must hear, because they must hear. Speak it until your impossibility realizes that it cannot stand against the power of God. There is a story in every heart here today. Some of you feel trapped in cycles that never seem to end. Every time you try to rise, something pulls you down. Every time you take one step forward, you get knocked back. And you wonder, will I ever break free? My answer to you is this: yes, you will, but not in your own strength. You will break free when you shift your thinking and your words from despair to faith. You will break free when you stop magnifying your chains and start magnifying your God. Say it over your life, over your situation, over your family, over your future. God makes the impossible possible. Do not just say it once and walk away. Say it until it becomes the song of your spirit. Say it until your soul dances with hope again. The truth is, most of us think too small. We look at the size of our problem and forget the size of our God. We calculate with human logic and limit ourselves to what makes sense. But faith does not make sense. It makes miracles. If you only believe in what you can see, then you will only receive what is visible. But if you dare to believe in what God can do, you will step into a life that defies human reasoning. The question is, will you think like the world, or will you think like someone who truly trusts God? Every time you declare, God makes the impossible possible, you are training your mind to think beyond the limits of reason and into the vastness of divine power. And do not forget, impossibility is not always external. Sometimes the greatest impossibility is within you. It is the voice that says, you are not enough. It is the wound that whispers, you will never heal. It is the shame that says, your past defines you. Those inner impossibilities are often more destructive than the outer ones. But even here, the truth remains. God makes the impossible possible. He can heal the heart that seems beyond repair. He can restore the identity that was stolen. He can rewrite the story that you thought was already over. You are not bound to your past. You are not a prisoner to your pain. You are a vessel of God's power, and if you will declare it with faith, even the impossibilities inside you will bow. Did you see the pattern? Impossibility is not a barrier to God. It is a tool in His hand. When man says, it cannot be done, God says, now I will show you who I am. When people give up on you, when doors close in your face, when every road seems blocked, that is when you must remember these words and refuse to be shaken. You are not at the mercy of circumstances. You are under the care of God. And if God is with you, then no impossibility can ever define you. I tell you this not just to inspire you, but to command you into a new way of living. Stop allowing impossibility to intimidate you. Stop rehearsing your fears. Stop bowing before the giants in your life. Rise up with faith. Speak with authority. Declare with conviction. Because when you do, you will not only see change around you, you will become the change. You will carry a presence so filled with faith that others will look at you and see the power of God reflected in your life. Say it again, deep from your heart. God makes the impossible possible. Say it until you believe it. Say it until you live it. Say it until your very existence becomes a testimony to that truth. Because when you live with this conviction, no storm can shake you, no trial can break you, and no impossibility can stop you. There comes a point in life when you must decide whose voice you will listen to. Will you listen to the voices of people who tell you it cannot be done? Or will you tune your ear to the eternal voice of God who declares, I am the one who makes all things possible. Every impossibility in your life is speaking. It is shouting loudly, telling you that you are too weak, too poor, too late, too broken, too ordinary. But you must learn to silence those voices with one declaration that carries eternal authority. God makes the impossible possible. When you declare this, you are not arguing with your problem. You are commanding it to bow before God's sovereignty. You are not negotiating with fear. You are casting it out with the light of faith. We must remember that faith is not wishful thinking. Faith is not sitting idle and hoping something might change. Faith is bold action built on the unshakable trust that God is in control. When you speak with faith, You are not speaking empty optimism. You are speaking eternal truth. You are connecting your fragile humanity to the limitless strength of God. And that connection transforms everything. A weak man becomes strong. A fearful woman becomes courageous. A broken heart becomes whole again. Why? Because God steps in where human effort ends. Do not underestimate the power of your declaration. Many people think their words are small, but your words are the steering wheel of your life. What you speak consistently becomes the direction you move in. If you constantly say, I can't, you will never rise. If you constantly say, I am defeated, you will remain defeated. But if you consistently declare, God makes the impossible possible, your entire being, your thoughts, your emotions, your choices begins to align with that truth. Your words draw you closer to the reality of God's power. They build a bridge between the unseen and the seen. They carry the authority to shift the very atmosphere around you. Let me open your eyes to something deeper. Impossibility is often the disguise of divine preparation. When you are faced with something you cannot do, God is positioning you for something only He can do. He is setting the stage for His glory to be revealed. That is why you must never run from impossibility. Embrace it, because within it lies the seed of your miracle. What looks like the end is often the beginning. What feels like a breakdown is often the setup for a breakthrough. And the only way you endure the waiting, the pressure, the uncertainty, is to keep declaring with faith, God makes the impossible possible. There are some of you listening right now who feel forgotten. You look at others succeeding while you are still struggling, and you wonder if God has overlooked you. But hear me clearly. God has not forgotten you. He knows your name. He sees your tears. He understands your pain. And He is not late. He is precise. He is working in ways you cannot see. Just as the seed is hidden under the soil before the plant appears, so too is God working beneath the surface of your life. Do not mistake silence for absence. Do not mistake delay for denial. His timing is perfect. And when the appointed time comes, what seemed impossible will stand before you as undeniable evidence that God's hand was with you all along. But you must train your mind to think in alignment with God's truth. A mind filled with doubt will always see obstacles, but a mind filled with faith will always see opportunity. A doubtful mind sees a wall. A faithful mind sees a door waiting to open. A doubtful mind sees the desert. A faithful mind sees water flowing from the rock. A doubtful mind sees death. A faithful mind sees resurrection. This is why the declaration, God makes the impossible possible, is more than words. It is training. It is training your thoughts to look beyond what is visible and to fix themselves on the unseen power of God. The problem with many people is that they pray, but they do not believe. They ask, but they still doubt. They declare once, then give up. My friends, faith is not a one-time act, it is a lifestyle. You must walk in it, breathe in it, live in it. You must keep declaring until your spirit cannot imagine anything else. You must keep speaking until your tongue refuses to utter words of defeat. When you live this way, Impossibility will no longer terrify you. It will become the very arena where you meet God's power face to face. Think of the countless stories throughout history where people stood in impossible situations. Families without provision, leaders without armies, men and women with nothing in their hands but faith in God. And yet, time and time again, impossibility collapsed under the weight of divine power. What does this teach us? That God does not require you to have all the resources. He does not require you to know all the answers. He requires you to trust Him, to believe in Him, and to declare His truth over your life. So I challenge you, stop shrinking in the face of impossibility. Stop rehearsing the lies of defeat. Stop magnifying your weakness and start magnifying your God. Lift your head, straighten your back, and open your mouth. Declare it not just once, not just twice, but until it becomes the very rhythm of your soul. God makes the impossible possible. Let this truth be the foundation under your feet, the fire in your bones, the song on your lips. Because when you live with this conviction, nothing can shake you, nothing can break you, and nothing can stop you. There comes a moment when words must leave the air and become the fire that drives your soul. This is that moment. You have heard it, you have felt it, and now you must own it. God makes the impossible possible. This is not just a statement, it is a declaration of war against fear, doubt, and despair. Every time you say it, you are tearing down walls that once stood unshakable. Every time you whisper it in the quiet of your heart, you are releasing the power of heaven into the silence of earth. Every time you proclaim it in the face of your storm, you are standing tall as a warrior of faith who refuses to bow to defeat. So I ask you, what is your impossible? Is it a broken family that feels beyond repair? Is it a sickness that doctors cannot cure? Is it a future that seems too dark to dream about? Lift it up now. Hold it in your mind and then shatter it with these words. God makes the impossible possible. Say it until your fear trembles. Say it until your doubts crumble. Say it until your faith becomes stronger than the mountain standing before you. Do not walk out of this moment the same as you entered it. Let this truth reshape your destiny. Let it silence the lies that have lived too long in your heart. Let it push you to act with boldness where you once hesitated in fear. You are not weak. You are carried by the Almighty. You are not defeated. You are sustained by His power. You are not lost. You are guided by His hand. And the God who spoke galaxies into existence is the same God who is speaking life into your impossible situation right now. Therefore, rise up in courage. Stand tall in faith. Go into your life with a fire that cannot be extinguished. From this day forward, let your tongue never be silent of this truth. Say it when you wake up. Say it when you face opposition. Say it when you are alone and when you are surrounded. Say it until the very atmosphere of your life is saturated with faith. God makes the impossible possible. And when you live this way, your life will become a testimony to the world that there is nothing too hard for God. Now the challenge is before you. Will you live small, defeated, and doubting? Or will you step boldly into the realm of faith where impossibility has no power. The choice is yours. But I tell you this with the deepest conviction of my heart. If you dare to believe, if you dare to declare, if you dare to hold on to God, even when the night feels endless, you will see with your own eyes that impossibility is only a stage for His glory. Go forth with courage, with faith, with fire in your soul. And let every breath you take proclaim the eternal truth. God makes the impossible possible. You see, life has a way of teaching us that we are not as strong as we think we are. One phone call can shake your entire world. One unexpected event can wipe away years of hard work. One betrayal can crush your heart into pieces. One sickness can steal your strength. And in those moments, you discover the limits of human power. But that is not a place of defeat. It is a place of revelation. Because when human power fails, the power of God begins to shine. When your hands cannot hold it together, His hands are more than enough to rebuild what you thought was gone forever. So many people today live with hidden fears, hidden anxieties, hidden frustrations. On the outside, they smile, they talk, they pretend everything is fine. But inside, they are trembling. They don't know how tomorrow will look. They don't know how they will pay their bills. They don't know how to heal from the pain of rejection. They don't know how to overcome the mistakes of yesterday. And yet, the truth is that you were never meant to carry that burden alone. God is not asking you to solve every problem with your limited strength. He is asking you to trust Him. To trust Him enough to hand over the broken pieces of your life and believe that He will make them whole again. Do you know why so many people suffer longer than they should? It's not because God is absent. It's not because God is silent. It's not because God is powerless. It's because they refuse to let go. They keep clutching the pain. They keep clinging to their fears. They keep analyzing their problems as if they can solve them by worrying day and night. But worry is a prison and fear is a thief. The longer you hold on to your problem, the longer you block the hand of God from fixing it. But the moment you say, but I cannot carry this anymore, I place it into your hands, I trust you with it, that is the moment His power begins to move in ways you cannot imagine. Think of the situations in your life that you thought were permanent. The moments you said, this is it. I will never rise again. I will never smile again. I will never recover. And yet somehow you are still here. Somehow you are still breathing. Somehow the pain that should have destroyed you became the very ground where your strength was born. That is the fingerprint of God. That is the proof that your story is not in the hands of men, not in the hands of circumstances, but in the hands of God Almighty. But hear me clearly, trust is not passive. Trust is not sitting down, doing nothing, and waiting for God to deliver everything on a silver plate. Trust is active faith. Trust is surrender with expectation. Trust is saying, God, I don't see the way, but I believe you are making one. I don't feel strong, but I know you are my strength. I don't have the answers, but I know you are wisdom itself. I don't see the resources, but I know you are my provider. That kind of trust turns fear into courage, confusion into clarity, and impossibility into possibility. There are many people today who are imprisoned by the opinions of others. They worry about who left them, who betrayed them, who didn't support them. They waste energy crying over doors that closed, relationships that ended, opportunities that slipped away. But listen carefully. When God allows something to close, it is because He is preparing something better. If you trust God, you will stop crying over what left and start rejoicing over what's coming. Because God never subtracts without adding. He never removes without replacing. He never allows an ending